Light and shadow, the two forces that shape everything we see. In this episode, we are diving deep into how light interacts with an object, transforming flat surfaces into captivating three-dimensional forms. Stick around and see how mastering shading can take your art to the next level. Sometimes inspiration strikes from the most unexpected places. You sit down to write, thoughts flowing on the page, and something simple catches your eye, a small object that shifts your focus entirely. You pass, pencil still in hands, and suddenly your mind starts wandering in different directions. It's funny how distractions can sometimes lead to the best ideas. An apple. At first glance, it's just an apple, but as the light hits it, you start to notice how the shadows shift and transform its form. This is where shading begins. By simply rotating it, you see how the shape appears to change, how highlights pop and how shadows deepen. It's this play of light that brings an object to life, but to capture that play of light on paper, we need to break things down properly. The first step is understanding how to divide an object into two parts, the light family and the shadow family. As the apple turns, halftones emerge, the areas between light and shadow. Where the light touches, the shape is illuminated, while the shadow creates depth. Simplify this into basic shapes, curves and straight lines to build the structure of your shading. Now the real beauty of light and shadow comes when you start experimenting, moving the light, changing the angle, watching the object transform with every shift. Now we can begin to explore the fundamentals of shading. Everything the light touches belongs to the light family, and everything in the darkness is part of the shadow family. Even the cast shadow, like the one under the apple, falls into the shadow family. As we already know, as the light moves, the form starts to turn. It's this simple structure that will guide our shading. As we move the light, we can see halftones more clearly. These areas where the object transitions from light to the shadow. The halftones should always stay within the light family, slightly darkened at the brightest areas. Halftones are what give an object its depth. Without them, everything would look flat. As the form rolls away from the light, the subtle midtones are crucial for making an apple feel three-dimensional. It's important to keep the light and shadow distinct. Avoiding too much blending, clarity is key. We also have ambient light, the subtle reflection that adds realism. But remember, ambient occlusion, the darkest areas where no light can reach, anchors the form. Final highlights, small but important. Add a final touch to bring the object to life. And just like that, something as simple as an apple becomes a study of light and shadow. But sometimes a simple mistake can turn shading into shading. A reminder that smallest details can change everything. When done right, shading creates depth and life. But when done wrong, it distorts the form. It's a process of learning and refining. In art, every mistake brings you closer to the understanding. It's about embracing the process, practicing and learning along the way. Until the next time, keep sketching, keep learning, and embrace the journey. See you on the next video. Bye!